Scientists have just recreated in laboratory conditions 7 of the most impossible biblical constructions in history, and the results left structural engineers completely stunned. We are talking about structures that defy everything we think we know about ancient engineering. Colossal ships that should not have floated, walls that collapsed in direct contradiction to the laws of physics, temples covered with tons of gold, and towers that attempted to literally reach the heavens. Biblical archaeology has collided with modern science, and what they uncovered will make you question everything you thought you knew about the mysteries of the Bible and the limits of human technology thousands of years ago. In this video, you will discover how Noah's Ark used the same proportions found in modern ships to achieve perfect stability, why the walls of Jericho fell outward instead of inward, contradicting every known rule of ancient siege warfare, in which lost technique allowed Solomon's temple to be built in complete silence, with 50-ton stones fitted together without mortar. I will reveal concrete data from universities such as Stanford, Tel Aviv, and Oxford, where researchers tested these structures and found engineering solutions that would still be considered challenging today. You will understand how the Tower of Babel used a form of primitive reinforced concrete centuries before it was supposedly reinvented, and why the Second Temple of Jerusalem contained 600-ton stones that no modern crane could move easily. If you love ancient mysteries, archaeological discoveries that defy explanation, and want to understand how supposedly impossible biblical constructions were actually built using techniques that science is only now beginning to understand, subscribe to the channel now. Get ready, because this journey through biblical archaeology will blow your mind, and by the end, you will be left with a disturbing question that no one has been able to fully answer. Just imagine this. A man is given the mission to build a ship so massive it would make any modern engineer break out in a cold sweat. Noah's Ark, that biblical construction that has fascinated humanity for thousands of years, had absolutely astonishing dimensions. 135 meters long, 22 meters wide, and 13 meters high. To give you a sense of its scale, we're talking about a vessel equivalent to a 4-story building floating on the water, larger than a professional soccer field. The mysteries of the Bible have always captured our imagination, but when science and faith intersect, archaeological discoveries leave us speechless. Recent studies from the University of Leicester calculated that the internal volume of this structure would have been enough to house around 70,000 animals the size of sheep. But here's a detail few people know. The 30:5:3 proportion used in the Ark is the same ratio employed in modern ships to ensure perfect stability on the open sea. Coincidence? Contemporary naval engineers were stunned when they discovered this. Sacred history has always offered extraordinary narratives, but when we begin to analyze biblical accounts through a technical lens, we realize there is far more than just ancient stories. And there's something even more intriguing that specialists still debate to this day. Biblical archaeology has, in recent decades, brought forward evidence that challenges our understanding of these ancient constructions. On Mount Ararat, located in eastern Turkey, expeditions discovered a rock formation with the exact shape of a ship's hull, matching the dimensions described in the Book of Genesis. Researchers from the University of Richmond used ground-penetrating radar and detected parallel structures that resemble the internal compartments of a vessel. But wait, there's something many people don't know. Samples of petrified wood collected at the site were dated to approximately 4,800 years ago, aligning with estimates for the time of the flood. Scientists cannot explain how a wooden structure of that size could have been built using Bronze Age tools. That would be challenging even with today's advanced technology. The seemingly impossible engineering of the Ark included a natural ventilation system created by an opening at the top, approximately 46 centimeters wide, that ran around the entire vessel, ensuring air circulation for thousands of animals. Think about that. We're talking about a passive climate control system designed nearly 5,000 years ago. The lost techniques of that era remain a fascinating enigma for architects and engineers around the world. The mysteries of the Bible take on another dimension when we begin connecting the dots between different scientific discoveries. Geologists have found evidence of a massive flood in the Mesopotamian region, dated to around 2900 BC, with sediment layers indicating a catastrophic inundation that covered vast areas. Studies from Columbia University revealed that the Black Sea's water level rose dramatically by about 150 meters in a relatively short period, possibly due to post-Ice Age glacial melting. But here's the shocking part. Analyses of Greenland ice cores show a period of intense rainfall and severe climate anomalies occurring at approximately the same time. Some archaeologists believe the biblical flood may have been a regional catastrophic event that appeared global to the civilizations of that era, since their known world was geographically limited. Other scientists debate whether multiple ancient cultures, Sumerians, Babylonians, Greeks, and even Native American peoples, recorded similar flood accounts because they all experienced devastating climatic events. The truth becomes even more fascinating when we consider that more than 200 cultures worldwide have narratives about a great flood. This challenges our assumptions about how knowledge spread among early human societies. Now let's talk about the part that truly leaves experts without answers. The seemingly impossible logistics of the Arkansas Noah would have needed to gather, feed, and care for thousands of animal species for more than an entire year inside that vessel. Researchers from the Institute for Creation Research calculated that, considering only the basic kinds of land animals and birds, excluding insects and marine creatures, around 16,000 animals would have been required. The most surprising part? They found that the Ark's internal space, divided into 3 decks, would have been more than sufficient to house all those animals, with room left over to store food for over a year. But wait, there's something that completely changed our understanding. Recent studies suggest that many animals can enter states of dormancy or hibernation when exposed to certain conditions, drastically reducing their need for food and care. Imagine managing a floating zoo the size of 3 football fields without any modern technology. Science and faith intertwine when we realize that many modern species possess survival mechanisms that could have been triggered during the flood. Biblical accounts begin to make sense when we apply contemporary zoological knowledge to ancient narratives. The real mystery, however, lies in the wood used for the construction. The biblical text mentions gopher wood, a term that appears only once in the entire Bible and whose exact meaning has been lost over time. Some specialists believe it may have been cypress, known for its exceptional durability and resistance to decay when exposed to water. Other archaeologists suggest it was a resinous wood similar to Lebanese cedar, famous for its strength and longevity, the same material later used in Solomon's temple. Archaeological discoveries in the Mount Ararat region revealed traces of a type of laminated wood, in which layers of different trees were bonded together with a natural resin, creating an extremely strong composite material. That would be difficult even with today's industrial adhesives. Modern naval engineering only began using laminated composite materials in the 20th century, yet evidence suggests this advanced technology existed thousands of years ago. Structural testing laboratories recreated prototypes using the biblical proportions and were shocked. The Ark was virtually unbreakable under extreme storm conditions. And there's one more thing that will connect this story to something even greater in the biblical constructions humanity attempted to build. Now let's talk about one of the most controversial and fascinating archaeological discoveries in sacred history, the walls of Jericho. This ancient fortified city, located in the Jordan Valley, had a defensive system so impressive it would make any modern military architect stop and think twice. We're talking about double walls, an outer wall about 2 meters thick and roughly 8 meters high, and an inner wall even more robust, measuring 4 meters thick. Between them was a space of approximately 5 meters, where some houses were built, including, according to the biblical account, the residence of Rahab. To give you a sense of scale, imagine 2 stacked walls equivalent to a 3-story building completely surrounding a city of 2.5 hectares. The mysteries of the Bible are always filled with events that seem impossible, but when biblical archaeology begins to dig, things become truly intriguing. Recent studies by Dr. Kathleen Kenyon and later by Dr. Bryant Wood revealed something extraordinary that defies all conventional explanations. Science and faith collide when we discover that these walls did not fall the way fortifications normally collapse during sieges. And what actually happened to them will make you rethink everything you thought you knew about ancient biblical constructions. The biblical account tells us that the Israelites marched around Jericho for 7 consecutive days, and on the 7th day, after circling the city 7 times and the priests blowing their trumpets, the walls simply collapsed. It sounds crazy, right? But hold on to this. Archaeological discoveries made by Dr. John Garstang in the 1930s and confirmed by later excavations reveal something inexplicable. The walls of Jericho literally fell outward, not inward as would be expected in a traditional military assault. Researchers at Tel Aviv University were baffled. When walls are brought down by battering rams, catapults, or tunneling, they always collapse inward toward the city. But at Jericho, the debris formed an external ramp, as if the foundations had failed simultaneously around the entire circumference. Some archaeologists believe that an earthquake of extraordinary magnitude would have been required to cause such a uniform structural collapse. But wait, there's something even more shocking. Geological evidence shows seismic activity along the Jordan Fault precisely during the estimated period of Jericho's conquest, between 1400 and 1550 BC. Scientists cannot explain how a seismic event could have aligned so perfectly with the biblical account of the 7th day. Was it pure coincidence, or is there something deeper within this sacred story? The real enigma lies in the construction details that were only uncovered through recent advanced technology. Using ground-penetrating radar and stratigraphic analysis, international teams mapped the foundations of the walls and discovered something astonishing. The base of the structure was built on a layer of expanded clay that functioned as a primitive form of seismic insulation. Yes, exactly what you're thinking. A lost technique of earthquake-resistant engineering thousands of years before Japanese architects developed similar concepts. The mysteries of the Bible become even more compelling when we realize that biblical constructions of that era displayed technical knowledge that should not have existed. Structural engineering laboratories in Switzerland recreated scale models of Jericho's walls and tested different collapse scenarios. The result? Only a very specific combination of sound frequency amplified by acoustic resonance, together with simultaneous seismic activity, could produce the exact pattern of destruction found in the excavations. Think about this. The trumpets mentioned in the biblical story produced specific frequencies that, in theory, could have amplified natural seismic vibrations. Science and faith intersect at this controversial point where acoustic physics meets ancient narrative. And there's more. Material analysis showed that the mortar used between the bricks contained quicklime, creating a more rigid structure that would have further amplified any vibration. But here's the part specialists kept quiet about for decades. Jericho was not just an ordinary fortified city. Archaeological discoveries reveal that it was a strategic center of commercial control, located on the main route between Mesopotamia and Egypt. The city had a sophisticated grain and water storage system, suggesting advanced urban planning. Excavations uncovered evidence that the city was violently destroyed and then burned, exactly as described in the biblical account. With one extraordinary exception, a section of the wall remained intact. Scientists debate whether this preserved section corresponds to the location of Rahab's house, mentioned in the narrative as having been spared. Biblical accounts gain credibility when archaeologists find intact grain jars in the rubble, indicating that the city fell quickly, without a prolonged siege that would have depleted supplies. This defies the military logic of the time. Fortified cities normally withstood sieges for months or even years. Carbon-14 dating of charred seeds found in the ruins places the destruction of Jericho precisely within the period of the Israelite conquest. The truth becomes even more fascinating when we consider that this was only the first of many conquests that would pave the way for something even greater. The legacy of the walls of Jericho goes far beyond a simple story of military conquest. This structure represents a turning point in our understanding of how biblical constructions challenged the technological limits of their time. Researchers at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem mapped more than 20 archaeological layers in Jericho, revealing that the city was continuously inhabited and rebuilt for over 11,000 years, making it one of the oldest continuously occupied cities in the world. But the most inexplicable detail is that each reconstruction incorporated progressively more sophisticated architectural techniques. suggesting the transmission of knowledge across generations. Modern biblical archaeology uses this city as a foundational case study to understand how catastrophic events shaped not only physical structures, but also cultural narratives that endured for millennia. The mysteries of the Bible uncovered at Jericho opened doors to a deeper understanding of other impossible constructions that would follow. And speaking of structures that defy explanation, there is one so magnificent, so covered in gold and glory, that archaeologists still search for its remains with an almost religious obsession. Get ready, because now we're going to talk about the most luxurious, most grand, and most enigmatic biblical construction ever built in antiquity: Solomon's Temple. Imagine a structure so extraordinary that it took 7 full years to complete, employing more than 150,000 workers at the same time, equivalent to the population of a medium-sized city today. Located on Mount Moriah in Jerusalem, this temple was not merely a place of worship. It was a masterpiece of engineering and design, combining cedar wood from Lebanon, massive, perfectly fitted stones, and tons of pure gold covering the walls, floors, and even the ceiling. We're talking about approximately 60 meters in length, 20 meters in width, and 30 meters in height. To put that into perspective, it would be like a 10-story building completely coated in gold. The mysteries of the Bible reach an entirely new level when we talk about Solomon's Temple, because this structure represented not only political power, but the physical manifestation of divine presence on earth. Biblical archaeology has obsessively searched for concrete evidence of this legendary structure for more than a century. Recent archaeological discoveries have brought to light details that make science and faith spin in circles as they try to comprehend the magnitude of what was accomplished. And when you learn what happened at the dedication of this temple, you'll understand why it is considered the most sacred of all biblical constructions. Sacred history tells us that King Solomon, at the height of his wisdom and wealth, decided to build a permanent dwelling for the Ark of the Covenant. But here's the striking detail few people know. The architectural design of the temple was so advanced that it included acoustic systems that naturally amplified chants and prayers. Recent studies by acoustic engineers at Stanford University digitally reconstructed the structure and discovered that the specific proportions of the chambers created points of perfect resonance. Biblical records describe that 80,000 men worked cutting stones in the mountains, while 70,000 transported materials, an operation whose logistical complexity would rival major modern construction projects. But wait, there's something specialists struggled for years to understand. The stones used in the temple's foundation were so perfectly cut and fitted that no mortar was needed. Researchers found limestone blocks at the site weighing more than 50 tons each, shaped with millimeter-level precision. That would be challenging even with today's diamond-tipped industrial saws. The seemingly impossible engineering of Solomon's Temple included an underground drainage system that prevented water buildup during Jerusalem's typically torrential rains. Scientists cannot explain how lost techniques of this magnitude were applied without the tools we consider essential today. And the most extraordinary detail? According to the records, no sound of hammers or tools was heard during construction at the sacred site. Everything was prefabricated and assembled in complete silence. The interior of Solomon's Temple defies modern imagination. The Holy of Holies, the most sacred chamber, was a perfect cube measuring 20 meters on each side, entirely overlaid with pure gold. We're talking about approximately 23 tons of gold in that space alone. Archaeological discoveries in quarries near Jerusalem revealed underground tunnels used to transport massive stones without disrupting life in the city above. Biblical archaeology has identified that the cedars of Lebanon used in the construction were trees more than 500 years old, selected specifically for their strength and aroma. But here's the shocking part. Analyses of fossilized pollen found in caves beneath the Temple Mount confirm the presence of Lebanese cedar dated precisely to the Solomonic period. The mysteries of the Bible deepen when we study the solid gold cherubim that guarded the ark, each standing 10 meters tall, their wings stretching from wall to wall. Some archaeologists believe the gold came from the legendary mines of King Solomon in Ophir, possibly located in present-day Ethiopia or Yemen. Scientists debate whether the amount of gold mentioned in ancient texts would have been physically possible to mine and process at that time. Once again, science and faith collide. Historical records state that Solomon's annual income was 666 talents of gold, approximately 23 tons per year. Think about that. Where did all this extraordinary wealth come from? The truth leads us to trade routes stretching from India to Africa, turning Jerusalem into the center of the known world. But nothing, absolutely nothing, compares to what happened during the dedication of Solomon's temple. Biblical accounts describe an event so astonishing it feels like something out of a science fiction film. After Solomon finished his prayer of consecration, a glorious cloud filled the entire temple to the point that the priests could not even enter to perform their duties. And then, fire descended from heaven and consumed the sacrifices on the altar in front of thousands of witnesses. Scholars of sacred history have debated for centuries whether this phenomenon could have a natural explanation, perhaps a lightning strike during a storm. Yet meteorological studies of the region indicate that storms are rare in Jerusalem at that time of year. Modern laboratories have attempted to recreate conditions that could cause spontaneous combustion on ancient altars, without conclusive results. The most intriguing detail? Historical records from neighboring cultures, including the Phoenicians and Egyptians, mention an extraordinary celestial event occurring in Jerusalem during that same period. This challenges our understanding of what truly happened on that day. Biblical constructions always carry this fascinating tension between the natural and the supernatural. And there's more. Geologists have found evidence of anomalous electromagnetic activity on Mount Moriah, possibly due to the site's unique mineral composition. Could this be the explanation behind the reported phenomena? The legacy of Solomon's temple transcended its physical existence. For 400 years, this structure served as the spiritual and political heart of Israel, until it was destroyed by the Babylonians in 586 BC. But here lies the mystery that still obsesses archaeologists today. Where are the remains? Excavations beneath TH. Archaeological discoveries related to the Second Temple are more abundant than those associated with any other biblical structure, offering fascinating insights into how science and faith were materialized in stone and gold. Biblical records tell us that the initial reconstruction faced fierce opposition from neighboring peoples and tremendous economic hardship. Researchers at the Hebrew University discovered that the Second Temple, in its earliest phase, had approximately the same dimensions as Solomon's temple, but without the golden splendor that defined its predecessor. Excavations revealed that the foundations of the first temple were reused, creating a physical connection to the glorious past. But here's the shocking part. Analysis of the building materials shows that the builders employed a sophisticated stone-fitting technique known as opus quadratum, without mortar, similar to what would later be found in much later Roman structures. Scientists cannot explain how this lost technique was available to Jewish builders in the 6th century BC. Some archaeologists believe Phoenician engineers were hired, bringing advanced technical knowledge with them. Scholars debate whether architectural elements of the first temple were preserved and reincorporated into the new structure. Archaeological discoveries include fragments of marble decorations and semi-precious stones that may have belonged to the original temple. Biblical constructions consistently demonstrate remarkable resilience. Even in destruction, something remains to be reborn. And there's more. Studies of pottery and coins found within archaeological layers precisely confirm the dates mentioned in the books of Ezra and Nehemiah. Biblical archaeology validates sacred history in surprisingly specific ways. But everything changed dramatically when Herod the Great decided to transform this modest temple into one of the wonders of the ancient world. Around 20 BC, Herod launched a colossal expansion that would take 46 years to complete, and it was still receiving its final touches when Jesus walked through its courtyards. Imagine an artificial platform expanding Mount Moriah to double its original size, supported by retaining walls built with stone blocks weighing up to 600 tons each. Yes, 600 tons, stones larger than anything found in the pyramids of Egypt. To put that into perspective, transporting and positioning these megastones would be a challenge even with modern hydraulic cranes. Engineering laboratories at the University of London digitally reconstructed Herodian construction and were left astonished. The precision in cutting and fitting these colossal stones rivals contemporary construction tolerances. The mysteries of the Bible are revealed in how such seemingly impossible engineering was achieved. Lost techniques included the use of massive levers, temporary ramps, and possibly even primitive cranes powered by animal traction. But wait, there's something even more impressive. The Herodian temple complex covered approximately 14 hectares, equivalent to nearly 20 soccer fields. It was larger than the Roman Forum at its peak. The courtyards could accommodate hundreds of thousands of pilgrims during major festivals. Science and faith converge when we realize that this structure was not merely religious, but a political and architectural statement proclaiming to the world, "We are back, and we are magnificent." The Herodian temple was a masterpiece of design, blending Greco-Roman architectural elements with Jewish tradition. Archaeological discoveries reveal that the exterior was clad in white marble and gold leaf, reflecting the midday sun so intensely that visitors struggled to look directly at the structure. The historian Flavius Josephus, an eyewitness, described how the temple appeared like a mountain covered in snow, a comparison that solar reflection studies confirm as remarkably accurate. But here's the part scholars debate intensely. The Holy of Holies, rebuilt at the exact center of the temple, remained empty. The Ark of the Covenant had disappeared during the Babylonian destruction and was never recovered. Biblical records mention that the high priest still entered this sacred space once a year, but what he encountered there remains one of the greatest mysteries of the Bible. Excavations around and beneath the Temple Mount uncovered tunnels, cisterns, and hidden chambers, some still sealed. Biblical archaeology is constantly revealing new spaces. In 2011, archaeologists discovered a sophisticated aqueduct that carried water from springs more than 20 kilometers away, supplying enormous reservoirs for purification rituals. Researchers estimate that over 10 million liters of water were used during major festivals. That would be impressive even for modern urban infrastructure. Biblical constructions demonstrated urban planning and hydraulic engineering centuries ahead of their time. And there's more. Geological analyses of the Temple Mount reveal that the bedrock, the same foundation stone that Jewish tradition identifies as the point of the world's creation, possesses unique acoustic properties that would naturally amplify chants and prayers. The Second Temple of Jerusalem enjoyed its moment of greatest glory for only a few decades before the final tragedy. In AD 70, following a Jewish revolt against Rome, General Titus laid siege to Jerusalem in one of the most brutal sieges of the ancient world. Sacred history preserved by Flavius Josephus recounts that despite Titus's orders to preserve the temple, a Roman soldier hurled a burning torch through a window, igniting a fire that quickly spiraled out of control. The gold that coated the walls melted and flowed between the cracks in the stones. When the flames finally died out, Roman soldiers literally dismantled the temple stone by stone in an attempt to recover the melted gold. Archaeological discoveries in the city of David and around the Western Wall complex revealed dramatic layers of destruction, colossal fallen stones, thick layers of ash, Roman arrowheads, and even skeletons of defenders who fought to the very end. Biblical archaeology documents this catastrophe in striking detail. But here's the extraordinary part. A section of the Western retaining wall, now known as the Western Wall, remains standing, preserving a physical connection to the sacred past. Scientists using modern dating techniques confirm that the stones of the Western Wall definitively date to the Herodian period. The mysteries of the Bible endure in this wall that has witnessed centuries of history. Science and faith converge as millions of people around the world recognize this wall as the last tangible remnant of the most sacred biblical constructions. And this story of destruction and endurance leads us to reflect on all the monumental structures we have explored, each one leaving a legacy that transcends stone and mortar, touching something deeper within the human soul. The Second Temple of Jerusalem enjoyed its moment of greatest glory for only a few decades before the final tragedy. In AD 70, following a Jewish revolt against Rome, General Titus laid siege to Jerusalem in one of the most brutal sieges of the ancient world. Sacred history preserved by Flavius Josephus recounts that despite Titus's orders to preserve the temple, a Roman soldier hurled a burning torch through a window, igniting a fire that quickly spiraled out of control. The gold that coated the walls melted and flowed between the cracks in the stones. When the flames finally died out, Roman soldiers literally dismantled the temple stone by stone in an attempt to recover the melted gold. Archaeological discoveries in the city of David and around the Western Wall complex revealed dramatic layers of destruction. Colossal fallen stones, thick layers of ash, Roman arrowheads, and even skeletons of defenders who fought to the very end. Biblical archaeology documents this catastrophe in striking detail. But here's the extraordinary part. A section of the Western retaining wall, now known as the Western Wall, remains standing, preserving a physical connection to the sacred past. Scientists using modern dating techniques confirm that the stones of the Western Wall definitively date to the Herodian period. The mysteries of the Bible endure in this wall that has witnessed centuries of history. Science and faith converge as millions of people around the world recognize this wall as the last tangible remnant of the most sacred biblical constructions. And this story of destruction and endurance leads us to reflect on all the monumental structures we have explored, each one leaving a legacy that transcends stone and mortar, touching something deeper within the human soul. So, did you already know about all this impossible engineering behind biblical constructions? Did you know that Noah's Ark used proportions similar to modern naval design? That the walls of Jericho defied physics by collapsing outward? That Solomon's temple was built in absolute silence, with 50-ton stones fitted perfectly into place? And what about the Tower of Babel with its form of primitive reinforced concrete? Or the Second Temple with 600-ton blocks that would challenge even modern cranes? These archaeological discoveries suggest that our ancestors mastered lost techniques that science is only now beginning to understand. Here's the question no one can fully answer. If ancient civilizations were able to achieve these engineering feats without advanced technology, what other lost knowledge is still buried, waiting to be rediscovered? The mysteries of the Bible continue to challenge archaeologists, engineers, and scientists around the world. Biblical archaeology shows us that the boundary between science and faith is far thinner than we tend to imagine. What do you think? Were these structures the result of extraordinary human knowledge, divine assistance, or something we still don't understand? Leave your theory in the comments. I want to hear your perspective on these constructions that remain unexplained. And if this blew your mind as much as it blew the minds of the engineers who recreated these structures in laboratories, hit the like button right now. And don't stop here. You need to watch our next video revealing the brutal strategy that kept Noah alive for 370 days inside an ark packed with animals. And there's a terrifying reason. You'll discover details about logistics, food management, and survival that will leave you even more amazed by this sacred story. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any discoveries about biblical facts, ancient history, and mysteries that archaeology continues to uncover. Thank you for watching until the end. Your curiosity and hunger for knowledge truly make a difference. Until the next video, keep questioning, keep discovering, and keep marveling at these impossible constructions that shaped our history.